PDP within the last 15 years has woefully failed. At least 70% of voters in the first state are in our support. I'm a reluctant governorship candidate.
Have you at any point gone abroad for treatment?
Me?
Yes.
Oh yes. But when I become elected, I wouldn't. Most Nigerians call people like me as controversial people. If I were the president, I would not even fight corruption.
Let's start with the latest from Zamfara State, the state of insecurity, and the fact that you are at the forefront of asking the government to declare a state of emergency. What's the latest on that?
Well, the latest is that we think the government will act appropriately at this point in time, because this is the third time that not only myself, other concerned Nigerians have also called on Mr. President to declare a state of emergency, and the governor himself has also said he wouldn't mind declaring a state of emergency in the first state. So we are expecting state of emergency to be declared in the first state. We are not sure, but I don't think that Mr. President will turn deaf ears to this incessant but now widespread calls.
But do you think he will want to do that eventually, the president?
Well, because Mr. President is interested, you know, in securing the life and the property of his citizens. So he has taken different measures earlier than now, and they have not yielded the desired result. So I think finally the declaration of emergency will, by the grace of God, yield the desired result, which is, you know, bringing an end, or at least reducing these killings to the barest minimum.
If we understand you clearly, you're saying that the state of emergency may happen in Zamfara State.
Yeah, of course, I think that's the best thing to do. And Mr. President, having known him, he is at this point in time going to respond positively. Why? Because earlier than now, Mr. President and majority of Nigerians thought that the call was political, you know, but now it has become apparent that it's not political, it's about securing the life and the property of the people of the Zamfara State. So I think I'm optimistic that you will act appropriately.
Well, there are also concerns that northern elders are actually not showing the much needed concern in the northern states of the country, and the fact that development seems to be very slow in that region.
Well, in fact, that's quite correct. That has been my opinion earlier than now. And at several occasions, whenever I get opportunity of addressing a gathering of northerners, I always tell them what they don't want to hear. And what they don't hear is I've been calling on them to emulate our counterpart from southern parts of the country. Because you get somebody who is a retired permanent secretary from the south. Some of them, you'll find a whole school constructed, furnished, and he'll donate it to the community. You can rarely find that kind of gesture in the north. In fact, a primary school that a permanent secretary attended in his village will be blown off by storm. If he has to contribute, he'll just give 20,000. That's the kind of attitude.
Is it because of your apprehensive nature to these issues? Most northerners don't really support when you make a statement like this.
Well, you see, not northerners, most Nigerians call people like me as controversial people. You know, when you tell the truth, a large segment of Nigerians will say you are abusing them. And others will say you are a controversial, don't mind him, he's a controversial person. But the truth must be told. A spade must be called a spade. That's what characterizes my life. But at the end of the day, our critics realize that what you are saying is the truth, and is always the way out. Because whatever God blesses an individual with, be it wealth, power, knowledge, exposure, is not meant for him alone and the members of his immediate family. It's given to him by God as a trust, as a trial, to see whether he will use it for the common good of the citizens. That's the essence. Whatever an individual possesses is meant to be used for the common good of the people. And that is what eludes Nigerians.
Well, there are two major parties in the country.
Yes.
I know you as a chairman, a national chairman of NRM. Yeah. One would have thought you will also run with the heavyweight, the incumbent, and of course Atiku for presidency. But you have chosen to run for governorship. Why is that?
You see, it's against my wish. My contest for governorship, in fact, I'm a reluctant governorship candidate. My aspiration has been to contest for the #1 seat in this country. In other words, the presidential seat. But when I went home, that says I'm for a state, and I told stakeholders, community leaders, religious leaders, they kicked against it. That it is Zamfara that is in their need of your services at this particular point in time. Fix Zamfara fast. We need you here more than the nation needs you. And that's why I now rescinded my decision to contest for the presidency.
But what's your chances, sir? We know APC is very vibrant in Zamfara. What chances does NRM stand?
No, you see, our chances in Zamfara state, I can say, is very high. Very high, because there is no exaggeration that at least 70% of voters in Zamfara state are in our support. They are in fact anxious for the polling day to come to demonstrate their disappointment against PDP and APC by voting not only for me, but for all NRM candidates at different levels massively, to show PDP and APC that they have failed for governing the Zamfara state for the last, so to say, literally 20 years.
But what do you think NRM can do better?
Well, many things. You know, we have this saying in Hausa. If somebody says he wants to give you a gown, look at the type he wears. So, the point is, whoever is aspiring for governorship of any state, he has antecedents. People know him, they know his character, they know what he can do. They know his strengths and they know his weaknesses. So the people of Zamfara state know very well, even from the document of NRM, that is to say the constitution and the manifesto policies of the NRM, they are distinct, unique from the manifesto constitution of the PDP, APC, and in fact all other political parties. We have certain features, we have certain ideologies in our constitution and in our manifesto that you cannot find in any of the 93 political parties in the country today. Let me give you an example. Okay. Under the constitution of the NRM, it is an offense for a member of NRM to rig election in favor of another candidate. So that goes to show that the NRM is an upright party. And another feature of our manifesto is that if you are president, governor, elected public officers under the party, and the appointed public officers under the party, their children and wards must attend public schools. And also, no going abroad for medical treatment for elected public officers under the NRM as well as appointed public officers.
Do you think that was what the president couldn't do?
Of course, yes. Not only the president, all the political parties. PDP that has been governing the country for 16 years at the federal level, All of them, including their councillors, who are going abroad for medical treatment.
Have you at any point gone abroad for treatment?
Pardon?
Have you at any point gone abroad for treatment?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. But when I become elected, I wouldn't. I would take my treatment here in the country. And I have a child now who is in nursery school. Once she reaches the age of enrollment in primary school, I'm going to enroll her in public school. I also have another one that is in secondary school. If I succeed in becoming governor, I will draw him from private school and enroll him in public school. We want to lead by example. And by so doing, government functionaries will pay special attention to, number one, equipping public schools, employing adequate teachers for public schools, pay special attention to public schools. By also our policy on health, that will make government at the different levels to equip our hospital very well, pay our medical personnel and paramedical personnel very well. A lot of incentives must be given. They'll be motivated, and that will attract Nigerians in diaspora. There is no part of the world you will go to any 5-star hospital, any part of the world, where you will not find Nigerians working. They have excelled in different fields of medicine.
So let me just bring you back home now. This administration is vying for a second term. Do you think they deserve a second term?
Well, under the circumstances, I can say they deserve.
Why?
Because the serious contender, who is PDP candidate, I can't rate him as better than the APC presidential candidate. If I am to rate, I will rate the APC presidential candidate, Muhammad Buhari, as a better and more reliable candidate than the PDP candidate. Why? So that's why I will say the APC candidate deserves a second term.
But is that why northerners, northern Nigerians prefer the incumbent to Atiku Abubakar? Because he seems to be getting more support from southerners.
Who seems to be getting more support from that? Yes, but don't forget, even in 2015, Muhammad Buhari didn't enjoy massive support from the south. Even in the southwest, you can see the margin between APC and PDP was not much significant. So it has been, so to say, maybe the southern have certain reservations against Muhammad Buhari. That's why he doesn't enjoy massive support like he does from the northern part of the country. Not because, in my own opinion, southerners support Atiku, not because, in my own opinion, that he is a better candidate than Muhammad Buhari, but because probably they have certain reservations. Because some people earlier than Muhammad Buhari showed interest even in the presidency, some people have succeeded in blackmailing him as religious bigot. And that has entered, you know, so much into the blood of quite a large number of southerners.
But is it really fighting the anti-corruption war effectively as it ought to?
No, to be quite frank, the way I want to see corruption fought is not being fought in that way.
So
because for me, if I were the president, I would not even fight corruption. Corruption is a product of something. I will fight that factory that produces corruption. Do you know that factory? It is the penchant of Nigerians for flamboyant life. What we call in Hausa, Ria. That majority of Nigerians, everybody wants to be above the other. We want to be proud that, yes, we have made it. We are proud that we have jets. We are proud that we travel abroad, we travel to Dubai, US, almost monthly. We go to Saudi Arabia monthly. All this penchant for this kind of life is the manufacturer of corruption. So the best thing to do is to uproot that psyche, that attitude of Nigerians wishing that only they want to be seen to be better than others, more accomplished than others.
But if you look at the manifestos of both parties, the PDP seems to have more of what Nigerians want in terms of the online poll. And the next level, which is of the incumbent, is barely what people have seen before. You see, do you think that will work in this regard?
No, it's not going to work. You know, that opinion poll, so to say, is the opinion of Nigerian elites. And Nigerian elites don't vote. It is the ordinary Nigerians and the middle class that vote. So, all these people that cherishes or that see kind of Atiku's document, yes, can turn around Nigeria, the PDP can turn around Nigeria. Why didn't PDP turn around Nigeria within 16 years they have been in office? So it is one thing to have an excellent document. It is an entirely another thing to implement to the letter what is in the document. PDP within the last 16 years has woefully failed to demonstrate serious capacity to entrench good governance in this country. So it's not a matter of document, it's a matter of political will, which PDP and its leaders have not been able to show in practical terms.
Do you think this could be because of the candidate they eventually chose, which is Atiku?
At this particular, not quite. Not quite. It's because PDP has established a tradition which will be extremely difficult for them to get out of it. And that tradition is self-serving. Look, since our independence, Nigeria has never been that lucky in terms of revenue accruing to the nation's treasury. Yet, Nigerians have never had it so bad in terms of growth of the economy, in terms of condition of life, in terms of welfare of citizens, in terms of developing or entrenching good governance, so that we'll be on our path to catch up with our peers in the Committee of Nations.
What do you think they have done better from what we saw in the last 16 years? In terms of medicals, education, infrastructure, like you mentioned, what do you think the incumbent has done differently?
Though not significantly different, but there is some kind of difference. In terms of infrastructure, wherever they said they have budgeted so much amount of money and they have released that kind of money, you see the traces of where the money goes. That's the difference. Don't forget, look at the improvement of power. How many megawatts are generated today in the country? It is almost doubling what the PDP government was able to achieve in 16 years, in spite of the huge amount of money that they spent. You see, has it been what this government needs to do is to improve its transmission and distribution. Because from what I am made to understand, that our transmission lines and distribution lines cannot even carry now the power that is being generated. So you can see some traces of where money is spent under this administration, while else you cannot see the traces under the PDP administration.
Are you in alliance with any political party?
Not yet.
But you have in mind?
Yeah. No, we are still consulting with members of the party across the country. We are still consulting. The two parties and some other small parties are approaching us. And at the end of the day, we are going to take a decision to have an alliance, not merger, not whatever connotation,
not part of the
but
CUP.
Electoral alliance. No, we are not part of it. No, we are not part of it. From day one, we said we are not going to be part of it, but we said we have not ruled out electoral alliance.
Let me take you to the northeast, where the fight with Boko Haram is still on. Some say the incumbent has failed in that regard, because a couple of months back we're told that the war has been won, but you know, for us to see recurrences of attacks from the insurgency. What do you think ought to have been done before now?
No, see, for me, if there is one area that I have been commending at the APC federal government, is the area of fighting Boko Haram. Why? Because this administration has succeeded in controlling the spread of Boko Haram menace to different parts of the country. Don't forget, it has started, remember what happened in Kano, in Gombe, in Bauchi, up to Abuja. But since the coming of this administration, they have succeeded in pushing Boko Haram to a particular enclave in the northeast. So it is, I think, the information strategy of the military that need to be changed. Okay. In my opinion, they have been exaggerating their successes. Quite all right, they succeeded in a large measure, but they have been exaggerating it. And that exaggeration has provoked the leaders of Boko Haram to launch attacks, to show to the world and Nigerians that what the Nigerian military is claiming is not the truth. So when the military succeed, I think they should find a way of giving the information. They should not exaggerate. They should change their strategy of information management.
Finally, sir, what's the plan for NRM in Zamfara before next month, which is just by the corner?
No, as far as election and campaign, we have finished our plan. I thought you are going to ask me what's our plan about restoring peace, and then about rehabilitating Zamfara, because Zamfara has been rendered poor. Poverty is everywhere.
Any plans to revive it?
Oh, there is no doubt about it. We are going to use agriculture, soil minerals, and entrepreneurship. These are the three key areas we are going to use to rehabilitate Zamfara state, grow the state economy, and in fact, I have said it times and again, that by the grace of God, Zamfara state is going to be a center for mechanized agriculture, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. And also, Zamfara state is going to be a trade center, a commercial center, not only for Nigeria, but also for West Africa and Africa at large. Once NRM succeed in governing the state for 20 years, like APC succeeded in governing the state for 20 years, you see jets flying from US, India, Europe, and landing in Zamfara state. That's my promise to the people of Zamfara state. And it's going to happen. Write it in your diary.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.